Hey guys, Legendaray here, and I'm sure we all want to get better at Clash Royale. After all, it really does give you that sense of satisfaction when you finesse that hard counter or outplay that over-leveled noob on the ladder. That's a big reason why I enjoy Clash Royale in the first place. So today, I'm going to be giving you guys 5 of my best tips to improve in Clash Royale. Now, these aren't just tips for interactions and game plans. These are tips that apply across the entire game, no matter what deck you are playing. These 5 tips I'm about to give are the exact process I went through to train my 2.9 Expo play. In just over a week, I went from someone who wasn't able to consistently complete classic challenges to winning the 20 win challenge with Expo. You just have to put in the time and effort to improve. So without further ado, let's get right into the list. Number 1, finding the right deck. While a lot of the time the player does matter more than the deck, that doesn't mean you neglect your deck either. A nice, well-balanced deck can really cause you to have a much easier time in battle. So, how do you get a balanced deck? Well, it's pretty simple. Most players just find one of the meta decks off of their own battles, off of TV Royale, Stats Royale, or from YouTube. Most of the decks shared on these platforms are generally going to be well-balanced and will usually do quite well in any given meta. Now, for those of you more creative players, making your own deck might be the way to go. In that case, analyze the meta, figure out which win condition to play, and build a deck around it with cards that do well in this meta. Number 2, create a definitive game plan. Now, this is the biggie. When you pick up any deck, it's important that you have a game plan for the deck. This can go from very basic to very detailed, and obviously, the more detailed you go, the better. So take some time, and after playing the deck for a few matches and getting a feel for it, try to create game plans for different matchups. How are you going to start off a match? Which cards do you want to focus on? How will I play against a Golem deck, an Expo deck, a Balloon deck? Do this for pretty much every matchup until you have a firm understanding of how to face different matchups. This is because the last thing you want to happen is for you to not know what to do. Thus, by going in prepared, you will have a much better time in the arena. Number 3, watch pros. This stems off of the previous point of creating a game plan. However, it's a tip that usually works if you're using a somewhat meta deck that other pros are also using. For 2.9, there are tons of super amazing pros that you can spectate and analyze. How do you find their matches? Well, if your deck has a YouTube video on it, go ahead and give it a watch. Channels such as Clash with Ash give amazing insights from pros into a huge variety of decks. Adding on to that, many pros also stream their gameplay, either on Twitch or YouTube. I like to keep tabs on many pros' Twitter accounts, as many of them will make a post notifying their followers on when they go live. Watching their gameplay and seeing their decision-making process can be invaluable to learning to use a deck. Number 4, analyze losses. This is another very important one that can very drastically improve your gameplay. When you lose a match, while you might be tilted, take the time to think about the matchup. What could you have done better? Could you pinpoint the match to one single mistake, or was it a ton of small mistakes that snowballed into a loss? If it isn't immediately obvious, go ahead and rewatch your replay. It might seem super boring or infuriating, but oftentimes seeing your mistakes and reviewing your decisions in retrospect can also give you really useful insight into improving your play. And before you comment that down below, yes, even if you were completely over-leveled or faced the hardest counter deck, there is at least something that you could have done better. Number 5, practice and commit. Okay, yes, this is a pretty obvious point. You need to practice in order to improve at anything, and this is true for Clash Royale. But for most players, if you truly want to master a deck, you have to practice it. That means applying all of the previous 4 tips into your gameplay and, well, playing. Eventually, all those tips that you learn from playing will become second nature, and you won't even have to think about them. This brings me to another big aspect of mastering a deck. Oftentimes, you will have to play a deck for a long time. For example, I've played my motorcycle deck for 2 entire years now. Was I good when I picked up the deck? Not by a long shot, but as time went on, I slowly but surely improved, and now I can pretty confidently say that I'm a pretty above average motorcycle player. So if you truly want to master a deck, get ready, because it's a long journey. So there we go, 5 tips that I have for you guys to up your game in Clash Royale. These tips are honestly rather simple to implement, but over a period of time can be super effective. Now of course, if you want to master a deck, you have to be ready to put in the time and effort, but that doesn't mean you can't have fun along the way. If you aren't enjoying Clash Royale, you will not be improving as much as you'd like. I hope you all took something away from this video and wish you all the best of luck in the arena, but unfortunately guys, that's all I've got time for in today's episode. If you enjoyed, please leave a like down below as well as a subscription to my channel, and as always, this is Legendaray, and I'm signing off. See you guys next time.